Welcome to the midnight hour. A typical Tuesday night. Home from work, dinner prep in progress, chicken breast and frozen corn, a simple meal around 7 p.m. Just as I finished cooking the chicken, a strange sound pierced the routine, a scraping noise, brief and quiet, but unsettling enough to make me flinch. Brushing it off as a house creak I'd never noticed before, I continued draining the corn. But then, there it was again, the same eerie scraping vibrating through the walls. Completely out of the ordinary, it left me bewildered. Quickly finishing with dinner, I grabbed a plate and headed to the front door, hoping to pinpoint the source of the sound. 30 seconds of tense silence followed, and with a shrug, I returned to the table, more curious than worried about the strange house noises. A few minutes of eating were interrupted by the obnoxious scraping sound, recurring relentlessly. Frustration mounting, I shut off the TV, determined to identify the culprit. This time, the scraping sound emerged more clearly, emanating from upstairs. Annoyance at the house's intrusion on my evening morphed into a sliver of concern. Could something actually be wrong? Reaching the top of the stairs, I stood vigilantly in the hallway, waiting for the sound to return. A minute ticked by in unnerving silence. Armed with a growing sense of worry, I embarked on a room-by-room inspection. Everything appeared normal, no signs of damage or disarray. Confusion and anxiety battled within me. Deciding on a fresh perspective, I stepped outside. Night had fallen, but perhaps a tree branch scraping against the house explained the noise. Reaching the side with the tree, I discovered not a single breeze stirring the branches, which were nowhere near the house. Feeling drained and bewildered by the inexplicable situation, I made my way back to the front door. A flicker of light caught my peripheral vision. Turning abruptly, I witnessed a faint glow emanating from the front of the house. Curiosity tugging at me, I walked down the driveway, peering back at the house. There it was, a small light shining from a darkened window in my attic. As I watched, the light moved, almost as if someone were wielding a flashlight. Horror flooded through me. Someone was in my attic. Fear replaced curiosity as I called the police, my eyes glued to the window, watching the light flit around. Midway through my frantic explanation, the light dimmed before focusing directly on me. Then, darkness. Even from outside, I could hear a series of muffled thumps. Adrenaline surged as I sprinted to my neighbor's yard, keeping a terrified eye on my house. The scene before me was eerily calm, the silence amplifying my fear of the unknown lurking within. Minutes dragged by, punctuated only by the arrival of the police. A thorough search of the house ensued, followed by my hesitant return inside. The attic revealed multiple sets of footprints, leading the police to suspect a group of teenagers, more interested in mischief than malice. Relief washed over me at the confirmation of no uninvited residents. The officers pointed out some rudimentary carvings on the wooden beams, nothing decipherable, just lines. Reassurance came in the form of the police downplaying the incident, suggesting the teenagers were merely trying to scare me. The question of entry remained. The police theorized they accessed the roof and entered through a window while I was at work. Their exit, however, was through the attic access door and out my back door. While the officers presented a reassuring facade of harmless pranksters, the knowledge that strangers had infiltrated my home, spending the day and part of the night undetected, left me deeply unsettled. The truth is, no one knew for certain what their intentions truly were, leaving a cloud of unease hanging over the entire experience. The violation of my personal space was a profound shock. The thought of unseen figures roaming my attic, their motivations a complete mystery, sent shivers down my spine. Even after the police assured me the house was secure, a lingering sense of vulnerability persisted. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of wind outside my window, sent my heart racing for weeks afterward. The once comforting routine of a weeknight dinner was forever tainted by the chilling realization that even the familiar can harbor the unknown. Working at my parents' store was a familiar routine. It was a small, local grocery shop, a cornerstone of the community for over 20 years. Dad poured his heart into it, keeping the doors open late, often past midnight, to serve the neighborhood. By 16, I was a familiar face behind the counter, helping out a few nights a week. Turning 18 marked a shift. I transitioned to full-time while juggling online courses. This particular night, however, was anything but routine. Dad had a well-deserved day off, and Mom wasn't feeling well. That left me solo, tasked with closing up shop. The late hours were typically slow, with restocking the shelves the biggest challenge. Around 9, with only a couple of customers trickling in, I decided to grab a sandwich and take a quick break. Of course, as Murphy's Law dictates, the moment I stepped away, the bell jingled, announcing a customer's arrival. Back at the counter, sandwich momentarily forgotten, I waited patiently for the customer to finish their shopping. A few minutes passed, and I absent-mindedly reached for my phone to check the time. A glance up sent a jolt of unease through me. The customer was nowhere to be seen. I scanned the aisles again, searching for them from every angle, but they had vanished. A knot of apprehension tightened in my stomach. Leaving the abandoned sandwich behind, I walked around the counter and began a cautious search of the aisles. It wasn't long before I found the source of my unease, a man crouched motionless at the end of the second aisle. His posture was odd, his gaze fixed intently on the floor. "Sir." My voice broke the silence of the store. The man bolted upright, his reaction startling. His eyes, wide and unsettling, locked onto mine for a fleeting moment before he turned and walked away, disappearing out of the store without a word. My initial instinct was to check the spot where he was crouched, searching for an explanation for his strange behavior. There was nothing out of the ordinary, just an empty aisle and a lingering sense of disquiet. With a newfound sense of vigilance, I double-checked that the man had truly left before returning to the counter. The next 3 hours stretched on interminably, devoid of customers. By closing time, the strange encounter had faded from the forefront of my mind, replaced by the simple desire to get home. Locking the front door, I grabbed my bag and headed towards the back exit. Then, the world exploded in sound. A deafening bang ripped through the store, stopping me dead in my tracks. My heart hammered against my ribs as I spun around, searching for the source of the cacophony. The back metal door hung loosely open, dust motes swirling in the air from the disturbance. And standing there, bathed in the dim light filtering through the doorway, was the same man from earlier. His wide eyes held me captive. Fear rendered me speechless, a statue frozen in place. Despite his clear intent to enter, his face was devoid of any expression, no anger, no malice, just a chilling emptiness. Instinct took over. In a surge of adrenaline, I backed away slowly before sprinting out the front door, phone clutched in my hand. Dialing 911 and Dad simultaneously, I raced across the street, the events of the night replaying in my mind at a frantic pace. By the time the police arrived, the man had vanished, leaving behind a solitary sledgehammer abandoned by the back door. Thankfully, a cursory inspection revealed that nothing seemed missing from the store. His motives remained a mystery, but his erratic behavior spoke volumes. He was unstable, and the potential for violence lurked beneath the surface. Thankfully, I never had to find out the true extent of his intentions. The experience left an indelible mark. The familiar aisles of the store, once a comforting backdrop to my evenings, now held a shadow of unease. The encounter served as a potent reminder that even the most mundane places can harbor hidden dangers. It underscored the importance of trusting one's instincts and staying alert, because sometimes, the night holds more than just restocking shelves and closing up shop.